Hey heathens, I got a question for you. How do you feel about budget optics? Are they worth your time and money, or do you buy once, cry once? Well, I kind of like budget optics when they work. So today we're going to do a video on an optic from a company you probably have never heard of. This is the Hi-Lux TD-3E. That's a weird name and a company that I've never heard of. But stay tuned because this one's going to be fun. Hey heathens, it's Gandidi. So this week we are going to do a review on an optic from a company I personally have never heard of. This company is called Hi-Lux. This is the TD-3E. This is a fully enclosed emitter red dot sight. This one is a RMSC pattern that fits directly onto your micro pistols. Like I have on this guy, we have it set up on the Mossberg MC2C. This is, you guys have seen the review of this guy. If not, then I'll go ahead and post it in the description, or I'll add a link to it or something like that. I'll put a link to it too if you guys want to check it out. But this is this optic is a really neat optic. It is a budget-friendly option for closed emitters. It's right around that 240-ish price range. This company reached out to me because they watched one of my other videos and they asked me to torture test this guy. So they are so confident that this guy is not going to break or falter that they said test it hard. So we are definitely going to check out this guy. Full disclosure, Hi-Lux did send this optic out to me for review. There was no money exchanged. They're not asking for a good review. They just want me to beat the out of this. So that's what we're going to do. But this guy is a really neat option. This is a fully enclosed red dot, like I said, which means the emitter is inside the glass here, which helps prevent fog, dirt, anything like that from blocking your view of the red dot. This guy is an RMSC pattern, so it fits your micro series of pistols, and it's got a side-mounted battery, which I love, which means changing out batteries is going to be super easy. This guy does also have a set of iron sights built into the rear of the optic. So if you are running like that CSX E-Series, or you're running like the old 365s, this guy comes with iron sights. So you're not going to lose them, which is really nice. This is a circle dot red dot. So you got the little 3 MOA center dot with the 32 MOA a circle around it, which is pretty nice for me for concealed carry pistols, because I like a big dot for concealed carry because your shots aren't going to be long distance shots anyways. You need to be able to grab, you need to be able to pull your pistol, aim, and shoot. If you're hunting down a red dot because you've got a target style dot on there, it's not going to be quick. So I do like circle dots for that reason. This guy is pretty cool because it has like a aluminum shell around it on the outside of it. You can mount it with or without it, but I recommend probably with it because just like the SIG Romeo series, I assume that shell is what makes it impact resistant. So it's got a nice aluminum shell around it that does give it a little bit of gap all the way around the optic. So we're going to go ahead and do some quick shooting with this guy. I did do a basic zero on this guy, nothing crazy. This pistol is not the most accurate of pistols. I've had to do some tweaking with the optics to make it somewhat zero. So it's probably not the best pistol to mount this guy to, but it was the only one I had free and available at the time of recording this. So, sorry Hi-Lux, I'm doing the best I can for you. But we do have it mounted to the Mossberg MC2C. We're going to put some shots on target, and then we're going to do a little bit of torture testing with this guy. We'll start with some hard racking, and then I got some fun things planned for it. But let's go ahead and put some shots on target and see how she does. We are going to do some shots on this steel target. This steel silhouette is pretty small. Let's show you real quick. This is my hand for reference to give you an idea how small this target is. This is my chest. It is a small steel silhouette, but it will show you a basic 0 of this guy. So we're gonna go ahead and get some shots on target, see where we are holding before we start the torture testing. We're gonna hold dead center target and see how she does. We did have one round. The striker did hit. Let's go ahead and see if that round is a complete dud or if there's an issue with that round. It was just maybe a light strike or something. I'm not sure. But as you can see, all my shots are hitting low right. That was a rough time zeroing this optic earlier this morning. That's as close as I could get in the short time frame that I was doing. But that gives you a basic idea of where it's holding. Let's go ahead and do some rough torture test or some rough testing of it and see if she still is holding that low right quadrant. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is some rough racking. That is a good idea of how a optic is holding 0, is if you could rack it up against something like the tailgate of my truck and it holds 0, that's a good idea that the mount is holding nice and sturdy and that the optic is not, or the emitter is not loose and jiggling around. So let's go ahead and show that the optic is not loose. Let's go ahead and show that. The little bit of slop you are seeing is the slide. I'm trying to hold it as firm as I can, but this pistol has a lot of play in the slide. But let's go ahead and rack this guy right up against the tailgate and see how she holds. Please mind the donkey poop. Donkeys like to poop wherever they want out here, so it is what it is. All right, so we did some dinging up on the paint of that frame, that metal frame, but it didn't even touch the optic. So that tells me that the frame is doing its job for that. We do have a little bit of dings on the back. I'm not sure where that came from, but let's go ahead and rack it. Get some good beating on there too. Yeah, we got some good dings all over the paint job of this metal frame, but it doesn't look like it affected the dot at all. So let's go ahead and put some rounds on target and see what happens. All right, guys, so we did some light racking, well, we'll say medium racking on this guy and did a little bit of beating on the tailgate just to see if it's gonna hold 0. I'm sorry, I couldn't repaint my target because, you know, Murphy's Law, what can go wrong will go wrong. Well, my spray paint ran out. She decided to just go out all over my hand instead. But so we're gonna try to get a rough idea. I'm gonna hold dead center, see if it's still holding that lower right. You'll see if it moves from that lower right, because frankly, the lower right's the only part that's actually hit. So if you hear the steel ring and you don't see any new splashes, that's because it's still hitting that lower right. But let's go ahead and put some shots on target and see how she does. Like I said, we're gonna hold dead center target. Okay, so it does look like it's still holding that lower right quadrant. There's a couple shots that went way out in the distance, but that could have easily been my trigger pull. Nonetheless, it does look like it's holding that lower right quadrant. Now, I think because they said torture test it, I think we should torture test it, right? Let's take it to some things that will not happen with your optic. But if it holds up, then maybe this is a good sturdy optic for you. Let me go ahead and finish these rounds out. Round out. And we're gonna go ahead and put some frankly, some impossible things or downright dumb things that shouldn't actually happen with your optic. But let's go ahead and see what happens. All right, guys, so I live in the desert, and no matter where you go in the desert, there is somebody who made a fire pit somewhere. They're always out there making fire pits, camping out in the middle of nowhere desert. So even where I go shooting, there's always some kind of fire pit somewhere. And with fire pits, typically you have rocks, right? Well, what happens if your pistol fell into the rocks? Oh, that's a bad scenario, right? Well, you know, if you have this pistol, this optic, it looks like it will not touch the actual emit or the glass itself, which is actually kind of nice. But, you know, they said torture test it. I don't feel like just dropping it into rocks is torture testing enough. So let's go ahead and get an area cleared out here. And, you know, what if, you know, some guy came over and decided he didn't like your pistol, and he just, oh, how dare you bring a pistol to my campground? Ah! Well, yet again, the frame is all jacked up, but the optic is still not touched and still on. So let's go ahead and put some rounds on target and see if that guy ruined our range day or, you know, just kind of ruined the paint job. You know, that guy was a real jerk. And, you know, now my optic is really dirty. God, I hate when your optic gets just completely dirty. And, you know, man, it makes me so mad. Let's see if that affected Zero in any way. It affected my ability to see through the optic because water's all over the lens, but the Zero is still zeroed. So, maybe that torture testing is right on par for these guys. But this is actually a pretty sturdy little optic. I'm pretty impressed. I put it through a little bit more than they probably anticipated me to do, but you know, I have one more thing that might just mess up this optic. All right, so what if you're on the job site and your boss finds out you have a pistol and he's just mad because you're not supposed to carry a pistol on the job site, and you know, he doesn't care about going to jail, so he grabs your pistol and he just starts, "Don't bring pistols onto my job site." Well, let's see if that affected Zero in any way. Well, zero-ish because of my zeroing abilities. And it is still nice and firm on the pistol. So even after all of that, she is still holding Zero. So let's go ahead and go up top and give you my final first thoughts of this guy. All right, guys. So what is my final first thoughts on the Hi-Lux? This is a neat option for an enclosed red dot, closed emitter red dot. This thing's about, like I said, about $200-ish, $240-ish. Not a terrible price. And it is extremely durable. You guys saw me put it through some tests that, frankly, someone probably would have got shot for trying to do that. But nonetheless, you saw me do some pretty ridiculous tests through this guy, and the optic itself was never touched. This frame that they put around there is nice and sturdy. It took a beating and still is holding on pretty firm. And I even smacked it dead center there, and there's no deformation on that frame to where it's touching the optic. That is actually a really cool feature about this optic. They put a really nice, sturdy frame around this guy. It is holding zero. It is waterproof to like, what, 6 meters, I think it is. It's IXP7 waterproof. So it's going to hold up. As you saw, I threw that whole bottle of water on there, and all it did was put some splashes on the lens. I beat the snot out of this through with rocks and a hammer, and the optic is still holding. So in my opinion, maybe you don't have to go out and spend $500-600 on a pistol optic to get a decent optic. This guy's holding zero really well. The emitter is holding is pretty nice and crisp. I'm not sure if you guys could see it on camera there, but the emitter is nice and crisp. The optic glass is nice and clean. There's not really any warping. There's no parallax shift. It is actually holding really well. The optic actually goes to the edge of all the lens there without disappearing. So that means the emitter is a good quality emitter. The glass is good quality glass. So even though this is a company I've never heard of, and I probably would have never bought previously to getting this optic, now that I know that they're out there, I'm going to try to see what other optics they have, and I might get some more for reviews, because if all their optics are as strong as this guy, it might be a good quality option for you guys for a budget-friendly price. But that's my quick thoughts on the Hi-Lux TD-3E closed emitter red dot. It is a pretty neat optic, and definitely something you should check out if you ever get a chance. Guys, if you like that video, go ahead and hit like. Comment in the comment section. Would you pick up one of these closed emitter red dots from a company you've never heard of before? Especially after seeing what I did to it. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. If you guys made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you very much. Thank you for watching the entire video. I really appreciate it. And definitely share it to your friends, because there are options out there that are budget friendly. Also, if you haven't checked out the website yet, go out to gundeity.com, where we have all the merch that I'm wearing today, including these really cool Forged for the Gods hat, which is a really neat rendition of Hephaestus forging an AR-15 for the gods. We do also have the Gun Deity shirts. This is the Gun God, and then we also have our standard Gun Deity shirts, and a lot of other fun options there for you guys. So check out the website below, or check out the shopping link right below this screen. Guys, also, if you haven't checked out the social medias, we have Instagram and we have X, where we are Gun Deity at both, and we have a new one that's Gun Deity Clips for Instagram, where it's just a bunch of videos. If you don't like to see all the other posts, there's a bunch of videos on that one. But we are trying to expand all the social media platforms, so definitely follow all of those platforms. And I thank you all so much for sticking around to the end, and I appreciate everything that you guys do for me, and I'm going to keep trying to bring awesome videos like this as long as YouTube lets me. Guys, I'm sorry if you watched one of my previous videos and you can't find it anymore. YouTube did remove it, and they will not let me repost it. So unfortunately, that one is gone. But nonetheless, a lot of my other videos are still live, and if you can't find it on YouTube, check out Rumble. As always, I'm Gun Deity, and I'll see you heathens for the next one.
I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate, but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm acing this test. And like a damn Freemason, I'll run this nation. They call me a